This was an incredibly challenging process to reconstruct Smuin's original production of Romeo and Juliet. Ballet West had the production from the late 1980s through the late 1990s. After that, the production got repurposed for another ballet. The sets were taken apart and redesigned, so they were in the order that they needed to be and designed and built for the Smuin production. In the mid-2000s, right after I had arrived at Ballet West, the Sacramento Ballet had asked if we had a production of Romeo and Juliet that they could rent. The production at this point, as I had explained, was a sort of non-production with the sets and bits and pieces and the costumes sort of falling apart. And we said, listen, we'll be happy to sell this to you with the caveat that we can still co-own it and use it if we ever need it. They agreed. And so the whole production went off to Sacramento. When I decided to bring back Michael Smuin's version this last year, we went to Sacramento and dug through their warehouses. I brought my crew and my costume shop people. And it was determined that this production was in no shape to put on our stage. We now had to rebuild the set to make it work for the choreography. There were no proper blueprints on how to do this. I contacted Celia Fushil, head of Smuin Ballet, who oversees the production and has been very generous with allowing us to do it in the first place. And she dug through the warehouses in San Francisco and came forward with the original model from the early 1970s of the set, carefully wrapped it up and shipped it to us. And that became the three-dimensional blueprint on how our crew rebuilt the entire set to match the original. Now, the costumes were another interesting issue. After Ballet West had done the Smuin version in the late 1990s, my predecessor Jonas Kolge created a version as well. And our director of costume production, David Huvel, had designed costumes for that production. Those had also gone off to Sacramento. They were beautiful costumes, but they were not designed for the Smuin version and would not work completely with the Smuin production. Again, Celia Fushil allowed us to take those costumes and use them as a blueprint for new and different costumes that were still designed to work with the Smuin version. So, what actually ends up happening is we have an amalgamation of old and new, but all of it designed to work with the Smuin. We have these new costumes, first partially done for a different version, but then added on to work for Smuin's version, all designed by David Huvel, brilliantly I might add, and the old original set completely redone new, recreated by our scenic shop. So it's a very exciting process, but it was not without its challenges because we just didn't have any proper blueprints. We had to create new costumes that matched what the original costumes were. But the final outcome is a glorious, visually spectacular work, and I'm just so excited to finally get it on the stage.
It is such a thrill to know that Michael's work will continue to have a life, and to know what joy it brought Michael when Ballet West performed it 25 years ago. And it's just really making me happy, and I know he would be as well, to see that this beautiful company is dancing it again. I mean, it's a company that has the ability, the dancers, and the talent, and I was just delighted when Adam started talking with me about it.
I was first picked by Michael Smuin to do the role of Juliet in 1988 for Ballet West when we first premiered this production of Romeo and Juliet. My responsibilities to put the ballet back together this year has been to look at the choreography, listen to the music, look at the score, find the landmarks for the accompanists to play in conjunction with the dancers in the studios.
Just be very careful in this one moment because she's got her left leg straight, her right leg bent, and she's going to take that out like you want it to be. But this one is also, it's going to stay straight a little bit before it goes into the fishing. So don't let her drop too low. Okay. Or she's going to slam her legs straight into the ground. Oh yeah, that's good.
Because I did the role of Juliet, I was mainly focusing on Juliet and Romeo's pas de deux and their family scenes. So I worked closely with the principals, and then after that started to put the group numbers together for the theatrical scenes.
When Ballet West first did Smuin's Romeo and Juliet, I was cast as Tybalt and Lord Capulet. And they were great meaty roles, to get my teeth into, and I really enjoyed it because of the acting demands and the sword fighting demands for Tybalt specifically too. I've been in charge of all of the fencing, the fights, and setting some of the other sections as well.
Low, no, yeah, that's closer. Now you're going high. See, I'm going low and low. Pull back.
Michael Smuin worked with an Olympic fencer named Stephen White, who also did a lot of Hollywood work. And together they choreographed these fights so that each fight was individual, not mass choreographed, everyone doing the same things at the same time. And in that way really gave it a realistic look, I feel. It also makes it more challenging because they are very technical fight sequences and everyone has to know their stuff or else it looks silly. So we have to rehearse it. Slow motion, engagement by engagement to start until it becomes total body muscle memory. And they can just go out there at the speed of light and recreate those fights.
I first saw Michael Smuin's Romeo and Juliet that he choreographed on San Francisco Ballet the year that he choreographed it in 1976, when I moved to San Francisco to start dancing as an apprentice with the company. After I did the extra girl in the ballroom, I started learning the harlot role. I was Tybalt's harlot, so the one in red, which I loved. It was so fun. I grew up with all boys, and so for me to have a sword fight attacking Romeo was a blast. And then after that, I was given the role of Juliet. It was an extraordinary experience, and I'm so grateful for the time that I got to spend with Michael. He was a master storyteller, like none other. He's able to coach dancers in their mime and their acting skills on stage. He knew how to bring your emotions and a role to life. And he would say that you needed to tell a story on stage so clearly that a drunk in the last row understood it.
I'm so grateful to Adam for wanting to take on this project. We've had the challenges of the pandemic and had to postpone several times. And so I am beyond excited to see the performances now coming up, and I hope the greater Salt Lake community will enjoy it. It is a spectacular ballet to a magnificent score, and just seeing it come to life again is thrilling.